The Siberian wilderness is a land of secrets, but those secrets are no longer staying buried. For thousands of years, the ground here has been frozen solid, harder than concrete. They call it permafrost. But now that permanent frost is failing. In the middle of a massive forest, a giant crack has appeared. It looks like a jagged scar from a horror movie. The locals call it the gateway to the underworld, and it is growing every single day. This isn't just a big hole in the dirt. It is a mile wide and hundreds of feet deep. As the sun hits the exposed ice, the earth literally turns into liquid mud. You can actually hear it. It sounds like a low growl or a heavy thud as giant chunks of soil fall into the abyss. Scientists are shocked because this shouldn't be happening this fast. It is breaking every rule we have about how the Earth is supposed to move. But the hole is just the beginning of the nightmare. The real danger is what is inside that melting mud. For 50,000 years, this frozen ground has acted like a giant freezer. It has been keeping ancient things locked away from the rest of the world. Now, the freezer door is standing wide open. Something is waking up, and it is getting bigger. Most people think this is just a story about a changing climate, but they are wrong. This is a story about a planet that is starting to vomit up its darkest history. We used to look at the sky for threats like asteroids or aliens. We were looking in the wrong direction. The real threat is right under our boots. Deep in the Siberian mud, ancient germs, explosive gases, and giant mysteries are rising to the surface. By the time this video is over, you will realize that the ground you are standing on is not as safe as you think. The clock is ticking, and the gateway is only getting wider. The first thing most people think about when they hear something is waking up is a movie monster. They imagine a prehistoric creature or an alien virus coming back to life to start a global plague. These stories are everywhere online. People call them zombie viruses. They say that as the ice melts, a 50,000-year-old disease will rise up and wipe us out. But if we want to understand the real danger, we have to separate the Hollywood stories from the actual facts. Scientists have actually found ancient viruses in the Siberian ice. In one famous case, they brought a virus back to life that had been frozen for nearly 50,000 years. That sounds terrifying, right? But here's the catch. That specific virus only hunts amoebas. It doesn't care about humans at all. To that virus, we aren't even on the menu. So while the zombie virus makes for a great headline, it isn't the thing that keeps scientists awake at night. The real biological threat is much more grounded and much more dangerous. It's not a sci-fi monster. It's a disease we already know. It's called anthrax. Unlike those ancient viruses that hunt amoebas, anthrax is a killer that knows exactly how to hurt us. In 2016, a heat wave in Siberia melted a patch of permafrost that had been frozen for 75 years. Underneath that ice was the body of a reindeer that had died from anthrax decades ago. When the ice melted, the anthrax woke up. It wasn't dead, it was just waiting. The bacteria spread into the water and the soil. It ended up making dozens of people sick and killing thousands of reindeer. This is the real waking giant. The permafrost is like a giant graveyard for old diseases. We don't need to worry about alien monsters. We need to worry about the deadly germs we thought we had already defeated, coming back for a second round. Now that we know the monsters are actually old diseases, we need to look at the massive hole itself. This is the Batagaika crater. It is the biggest of its kind on the planet. People call it the gateway to the underworld because it looks like a giant mouth opening up in the middle of the forest. But it isn't a hole that someone dug. It's a megaslump. This happens when the ice inside the ground melts away, leaving nothing to hold the dirt up. The land simply gives up and falls inward. What makes this place so scary is how fast it is changing. Most things in nature take thousands of years to move. This crater is moving in real time. It grows by about 100 feet every single year. That is like a giant taking a massive bite out of the forest every season. If you stood at the edge, you could hear the earth breaking. People who live nearby say they hear loud booms and thuds coming from the ground. It sounds like the earth is groaning under the pressure. As the ground falls apart, it acts like a time machine. The melting walls are showing us things that have been hidden for hundreds of thousands of years. Scientists are finding the bodies of woolly mammoths and ancient horses that still have their hair and skin. It's like the earth is handing us a history book, but the pages are made of frozen mud. We are seeing a world that hasn't existed since the Ice Age. But there's a catch. The deeper the hole gets, the more old air it lets out. This isn't just a local problem for Siberia. The deeper this gateway opens, the more it affects the rest of the world. Scientists are realizing that the Batagaika crater is a warning sign. It is telling us that the permanent part of the permafrost is gone. The foundation of the north is turning into water, and there is no way to freeze it back. Behind the giant holes and the ancient germs, there's an invisible threat that is even more dangerous. It's called the methane bomb. Methane is a gas that is trapped deep inside the frozen ground. For thousands of years, the permafrost has acted like a heavy lid on a boiling pot. It kept the gas safely tucked away. But as the lid melts, the gas is starting to escape. Methane is a very powerful greenhouse gas. It traps heat in our atmosphere much better than the carbon dioxide that comes from cars or factories. This creates what scientists call a feedback loop. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill. As the air gets warmer, the permafrost melts. As the permafrost melts, it releases methane. Then the methane makes the air even warmer, which causes even more permafrost to melt. Once this cycle starts, it is very hard to stop. It's like a runaway train. This is why people are so concerned about Siberia. If the methane bomb goes off, it won't matter what we do in the rest of the world. The planet will keep heating itself up. In some parts of Siberia, the ground is literally exploding. Massive mounds of dirt are swelling up like giant bubbles. These are called heaving mounds. The methane gas builds up underneath the grass until the pressure is too high. Then, boom, the ground erupts, throwing giant chunks of ice and dirt hundreds of feet into the air. What's left behind is a perfectly round, deep crater that looks like a missile hit it. These explosions are a sign that the Earth is changing from the inside out. We aren't just losing some ice, we are losing the very foundation of the North. In some Siberian towns, the ground is getting so soft that buildings are leaning over and roads are cracking in half. The invisible gas is becoming a very visible problem. It is turning solid land into a swamp, and it is happening faster than anyone predicted. It sounds like a disaster movie, but some scientists believe we can actually fight back. They have a wild plan to save the permafrost by turning back the clock. This project is called Pleistocene Park. The idea is to bring the Arctic back to the way it looked during the Ice Age. Right now, the Siberian tundra is covered in moss and shrubs. This soft ground actually traps heat like a thick blanket. The scientists want to replace that moss with hard, frozen grasslands. To do this, they're bringing in big animals like bison, horses, and reindeer. These animals act like living bulldozers. In the winter, they stomp down the deep snow to find grass to eat. When they crush the snow, they destroy that blanket effect. This allows the freezing Arctic air to reach the soil directly. This keeps the ground much colder than it would be on its own. It is a simple but brilliant way to use nature to repair the damage we have done. There is even talk of using high-tech science to bring back a version of the woolly mammoth. While that sounds like something from a theme park, the goal is purely about survival. A mammoth's heavy footsteps could pack down snow and knock over trees better than any other animal. By changing the landscape, these animals might be able to stop the methane bomb from exploding. It's a race against time to see if nature can heal itself before the ground turns to liquid. Of course, this isn't a perfect fix. Siberia is massive, and we can't put a bison on every square inch of the Arctic. But it shows that we aren't just sitting around waiting for the world to melt. People are trying to re-engineer the entire planet to keep the gateway to the underworld from swallowing everything. It is a radical move, but when the ground beneath your feet is disappearing, you have to think big. We have reached the end of the road, but for Siberia, this is only the beginning. The something that is waking up isn't a single monster or a hidden alien base. It is the Earth itself, and it is changing in ways we can't easily fix. The giant craters, the ancient germs, and the exploding methane are all part of a much bigger story. The planet is trying to tell us that the permanent part of the permafrost was never really permanent at all. This isn't just a problem for people living in the middle of a frozen forest. What happens in Siberia doesn't stay in Siberia. The gases being released right now are flowing into the air we all breathe. The heat that is melting the Russian tundra is the same heat that is changing weather patterns across the entire globe. The gateway to the underworld is like a giant mirror. When we look into that dark abyss, we are seeing a reflection of our own future. We are living through a moment in history that no human has ever seen before. For the first time, we are watching the foundation of a continent turn into water. We are seeing animals that died 50,000 years ago come back to the surface. It is a reminder that the world is much older and much more fragile than we think. The ground is moving, the clock is ticking, and the secrets of the ice are finally out in the open. Most people will look at these giant holes and feel afraid, but now that you know the truth, you can see them for what they really are, a final warning. The something in Siberia is awake, and it is only getting bigger. The question is no longer what is happening, but what are we going to do about it? The Earth is changing. The only thing left to see is if we can change along with it.